discuss the upcoming 2018 rotation for the beginning of the new year. It's going to happen in a little while, in a couple of months here. All the expansions from 2016 from Hearthstone that are rotating out, which are Mean Streets of Gadgeton, One Night in Karazhan, and Whispers of the Old Gods. And I'm doing this video on February 1st, so there's still another 2 months before this rotation is going to happen. But the reason I'm doing it now is because I'd like to wait until they announce what cards are going to be going into the Hall of Fame, because that's also more cards that are rotating out and gives you an even better idea of which decks and deck types won't be available. But they usually don't do that until around right when they've announced the first batch of cards from the new expansion. And I wanted to do a video before they do that, just because this is more of letting everyone know, or just more and a reminder for myself of just what cards definitely won't be a factor and what decks definitely will be out. And some of the ones are obvious, easy to remember, Jade's, okay, everything Jade's gone. But some of the other stuff you kind of forget was in Mean Streets, because that one was kind of more recent. And some of the ones in Old Gods you forget about because they've been around so long, you almost might feel like they're a classic card set. So I kind of divided it up into cards that are more aggro focused and control. I didn't do a mid-range section, just because mid-range cards that can go in mid-range decks can usually go in both aggro and control, or they can at least go in both of them. So I just did aggro, control, and then there's a couple that double up I did before, the Jade, Kazakus deck, Secret Mage, Dragon decks, and then some others. And and I underlined the ones that are bigger and more important. And let's all get right into it. We've got patches. Obviously, this would have been a little bigger, but this is today. I'm doing this video a couple days after they just announced the nerfs. They haven't implemented them yet, so also we don't know for sure how much some of these nerfs will impact the meta. But it's not too hard to figure out. But either way, this is this is happening around the rotation, so it's almost like this nerf was a rotation too, with patches. So that's one of the major backbones around aggro decks. That was in Gadgeton, right? Yeah. Oh no, never mind. Patches was way in the. I guess right here. So a lot of the cheap, aggressive pirate type decks are not going to be as good. But it's not the thing with a lot of these aggro cards and control cards getting rotated out is obviously you see it's pretty evenly split of control and aggro cards, and there's obviously going to be just as many replacements for both categories. So it's not aggro will be bad or control will be bad when these rotate out. There's going to be replacements. It's more so specific types of specific decks like Jade. Obviously, everything Jade's going away. So mainly that's right now Jade Shaman isn't really played anymore. There was the aggro Shaman that used Jade, and that could have maybe came back when some of this other stuff, if it rotated out and Jade stuff stayed. But right now, obviously Jade Druid's the playable Jade deck, and so you're seeing you're losing all this stuff. And then yeah, so you're not gonna, at least for now, like we don't know like if they're gonna make another replacement for Jade and Raza, where like those decks keep like super grindy control warrior style decks in check, where the games just can't go infinite because those types of decks are just gonna either like get out of control like very quickly towards the end of the game so they don't go on forever, or they'll just burst them down quick enough. So there's that. Yeah, so it's like, so other like aggro druid's taking a really big hit, so we're, because it's losing patches, Mark of the Lotus, Mark of Yasharj, Enchanted Raven. Let's see, what else is aggro druid losing? Yeah, it's mainly those. But I mean, but that's a lot. And then the fact that Corridor Creeper just got nerfed, which I actually think that card is still really good in aggro druid even with the nerf. But if you take out these cards, then that type of deck, I mean, that's like, it gets crippled pretty hard. And then yeah, so like the other big ones like Dark Shark Councilman is in every zoo-ish type warlock deck pretty much. Like there's a few exceptions. More recently, since there's so many quality cards, it hasn't seen like some play in some of the versions of the zoo decks. But again, like if the rotation happened and all these cards were out and this was still around, like a card like this would see a lot of play again. Like Rallying Blade is big because Aggro Paladin is right on the cusp right now, and this is one of the cards that helps it a lot because there's a lot of Divine Shield minions. So this it used to be like when this card first debuted, like people are like, oh, you're never gonna replace True Silver with this. It's just worse. But this is just better in like current aggro builds. And then there's still unidentified Maul. You can just run double Maul and maybe like one True Silver, and there's still plenty of weapons, so that won't hurt them too bad. Out of all the aggro decks, it looks like Aggro Paladin is losing the least. Let's see, like which of these cards. It's, if you run the patches version, like the Pirate Package version, it's losing patches. But if you're running like the Murloc version, you're not losing a whole lot. Yeah, so like the zoo's also in Possessed Villager. We got Hunter for aggro and mid range. I put these as aggro, but they're more so in like mid range because mid range is the more legitimate Hunter deck. But yeah, Kindly Grandmother and Cat Trick is pretty big. Like yeah, like Cat Trick is one I kind of forgot about. That was in way back in Old Gut. No, that was in One Night in Karazhan. Talk about the Old Gods in a second. Those are big. Yeah, so like also Cloaked Huntress. So you're losing. That's kind of the backbone behind the Secret Hunter, which never quite shaped out. And then Maelstrom Porter was a bigger deal. I didn't underline that because like since Shaman doesn't even see play right now, but it is like a, if Shaman did see play again, that's a significant card they're losing. So like yeah, they're actually, Shaman's losing a lot of their best stuff right now. So it's, oh yeah, Silverware Golem for discard lock, and that goes with Malkazar's Imp. Yeah, like that was one I had forgotten. That's another One Night in Karazhan, I believe. Yeah, and Silverware Golem, and this is a huge one. That takes a lot of variations of Zoo out. Like it makes it a lot weaker, and there, it might even be more significant too, or less. Someone pointed out like with like the the rotation or the Hall of Fame ones, like a candidate Hall of Fame card, might be the Doom Guard, just because people are complaining like with all the recent nerfs that like why isn't Q Block getting nerfed at all, and it's like it might. Someone made a good point. Is that it might actually be Doom Guard is the reason why, because it might be getting Hall of Famed, and that would make that like a Q Block deck's a lot less versatile and a lot less burst to finish games earlier on. They would be more just like almost like a pure anti-aggro kind of decks, especially since they're going to be losing Nazoth, so their super late grindy game is going to be cut down also. And yeah, with this gone too, and Doomguard possibly going, like a lot of Warlock, the zoo type decks are getting hit pretty hard. It seems like you got Possessed Villager, Maelstrom, or Malkazar Zamp, possibly Silverware Golem. You got Darkshire Councilman. And if you're doing like the Prince ones, Patches matters for that. And a lot of pirate stuff. Like if Pirate Warrior had a chance to come back, it's losing some cards, and hopefully they don't print more aggro pirate cards, because that was horrendous to play against for the first other than this expansion. Pirate decks were very oppressive over the last entire year, and they're losing Bloodsail Cultist, Nazoth First Mate, Naga Corsair, Patches, so they're losing like a lot of stuff. And on the control cards we got, like I was saying, Jade. It's a pretty big deal. It's gonna be good to see that go. Like it's not like ridiculously overpowered right now. At times it was, but I'm pretty sure everyone's sick of it, because it's always been like at least a tier 2 deck since it debuted back in Mean Streets, and the Priest, because just from Mean Streets alone, Priest is getting gutted pretty hard. So I'll kind of just like skip down to most of their cards are more control oriented, so there's a few in here but like just obviously like Raza Priest. Raza's like getting nerfed, but I still think like it's a playable deck that's pretty good, even at 1 cross tier power. You just kind of have to like switch the deck up a little to be more of like a grindy, burst them down over a few turns instead of just an OTK turn. So that makes them a little worse against like the Q Block, but it's still like perfectly winnable. You could probably not even change the deck, and it's still like it's still gonna perform like basically just as well. Like it's just gonna lose like some percentage points, like win-loss rate in certain in like against Q Block, and its matchup versus like aggro doesn't really change. Like it's still good. Jade, it might not, like Jade, you already like with the current builds, they armor up so fast that you don't OTK them in 1 turn anyway, so it might hurt you a little bit, so you can like clear the board a little less efficiency late game, but you can still beat them. Right, that's right now it's just a nerf, but like so now with obviously in the rotation it's just completely gone, and then it's losing Dragonfire Potion, which is just in general like a key card in control, but like Draconite Operative for the dragon builds of the Raza Priest, and then Cabal Talon Priest. Potion of Madness is a real key card against aggro, and it's really good against Q Block because you can steal their lackeys and then kill them off, trade them off, or Shadow Repain them while it's on your side, stuff like that. Or you could just do that in general. This is just like a real key card, and it's obviously it's in there. So like just in the Kazakus deck alone, Raza, Kazakus, Potion Madness, Pint Sized Potion, Cabal Talon, Priest, Dragonfire, Shadowward Horror, Pint Sized. Oh yeah, Priest of the Feast. Yeah, that's one I forget. That one was so long ago. Priest of the Feast is like another big card they're taking a hit on losing. That's in general just in control decks or all their decks. They're like either OTK Dragon decks, all that stuff. Priest of the Feast is in all of that, and that's a big card. So like I know a lot of people were thinking like, oh, like when the rotation hits, like they're losing Kazakus, but they've still got like 4 or 5 good decks, so they're going to be in a great spot, like because they got so many good decks that are playable. But it's like no, actually, all like it's taken basically like a year build up for Priest to become like the best deck, and so like that last year that built them up to be that, all that stuff's, well, not all of it, but most of it's getting taken away. All the like the key cards like Draconoid Operative, Dragonfire, Raza, Kazakus, Talon Priest was good early game, and like even like Greater Healing Potion, this is not as big of a deal, but there's times when this is a key card, like against like when like Burn Mage was real big. Priest of the Feast is just like, that's a real key card against aggro matchups, because a lot of times priests get beat down pretty hard and you're right on the brink, and then you drop this and you either you can heal up / they have to then trade their minions into it, because they're going to risk you like healing for like 10, 15, 20 points in the next turn if they don't. So it's like a taunt too. Yeah, so it doesn't look like Priest, unless like they add in some crazy stuff. I don't know if like Priest will be in a too great of a state. Like it really depends really heavily on what cards get added in the first expansion, because like with what they're losing like they're getting hit the hardest, I think. Like Druid's the second hardest because they're losing Jade, their Jade package, and that's kind of what they revolve around mostly now. But they also have aggro Druid, which is really good, and yeah, like they are losing a bunch of their key aggro Druid cards too, so they're losing a lot. They're getting hit almost as hard as Priest, but the reason I don't feel that that's as big a deal, because any aggro card that gets printed can just go in an aggro Druid deck, but not any control card you print or not any aggro card you print can go in Priest. Like they have to have more specific kind of cards. So yeah, so other control ones, we got Wicker Flame, Burn Bristle, Kazakus. Yeah, that's a big one. Like that's like one of the backbones behind the Highlander decks. It's like really Kazakus and Raza. And then Abyssal Forcer for Warlock. That's pretty big for control Warlocks, but this one's not a big deal overall, just because like Q Block isn't losing anything. Like this isn't even in Q Block right now. Blast Coach with Potion, Sleep with the Fishes, LA Armorsmith, Mistress of Mixtures. That's something Q Block is missing, and I don't think that's as big of a deal as some people might think, because you can just sub this out with any early game anti-aggro card or any heal card, and that's fine. There's like the new Beetle, like some of the decks are running this and not the Beetle, and you could just put that Beetle in there. Like some of them run both, but yeah, like there's plenty of stuff you can put it instead, and you can just not having this in, like you could just go for a more greedy build too. Faceless Shambler, Infested Tauren, Bloodhoof Brave. For Rags, the Light Lord is actually, that one's a pretty big one. I'll underline that. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So Control Paladin's losing a couple things, but I'm like, they're always gaining stuff too, and it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Forbidden Healing. Oh wait, I forgot about that too. Yeah, so I mean, Control Paladin's not even a thing right now, but again, like at the beginning of a rotation, decks are just weaker in general. Like at the beginning of the year, so like Control Paladin could be a thing at the beginning of this next rotation, but when it's losing Rags, Forbidden Healing, and Wicker Flame, that's gonna hurt its chances a lot. And I got Kabbalah's Tome for Mage, Dark Arcoa. I just put that in. It's not too big a deal. Ivory Knight, another Control Paladin card. Priest of the Feast. Medivh, that's in a lot of decks. That's a big card rotating out. There's no decks there's no like classes that are like severely relying on it, but almost every class has a deck where they can put Medivh in it. And yeah, it's a fun card. Too bad that one's going. That's when I'm sad's going. So Jade Druid, yeah, the other Jade, like I said, Jade Shamans, they're obviously losing all that stuff, but yeah, so Shaman is going to need a lot of help because they're losing what they had with their kind of like aggro, like tokeny deck with like Jade stuff and like the Fireflies and all that with like a Bloodlust style. Or you do Evolve, but like they're also losing Evolve. Let's see, go to when did Evolve come out? I don't even remember. But so yeah, they're losing Evolve, Doppelgangster, and Master of Evolution, and Devolve. But like Evolve and Doppelgangster are the core Evolve Shaman cards, and they still have the Death Knight Thrall, so that's another way to upgrade, but like you can't Doppelgangster Thrall like later on, or so I mean you could, there's still like Evolve Shaman potential, so it's not completely dead, because you also have like the new card like Unstable Evolution. That card's actually insanely powerful, but it's just Shamans and it's so weak right now that you're not seeing it. But I've tried that card out, and that card will single-handedly like win you the game like really easily. It's a really powerful card. So yeah, they still have two really strong Evolve mechanics, but they're losing some of it, and they're losing their Jade stuff, and they're losing their package stuff. So yeah, it's really up in there. I wonder if maybe Freeze Shaman could become a thing if they keep pushing that. And then Jade, yes, I said the Kazakus decks. So Secret Mage is going away. Most of that was in Whispers. No, it was Karazhan is where they introduced a lot of this. Though they got Medivh's Valet there. And then, yeah, so actually Mean Streets is where they really got some heavy. So they're losing Cabal Crystal Runner, Cabal Lackey, and Medivh's Valet. Medivh's Valet is a really big one because that goes in basically every mage deck. A very strong card. And so yeah, Secret Mage, I don't want to say it's completely going to be dead, because obviously they always introduce a new Mage Secret every expansion, and they're going to be losing a few. So they're losing a Potion of Polymorph, and that was actually the only secret that they're losing is Potion of Polymorph, and so that they're still going to have like the classic 4/3. I'm blanking out on it, but to get free secrets, and then also with Corridor Creeper it goes in that deck right now, but with that being nerfed, you're losing 2 free 5/5 cards. So I'm gonna go on a limb and say that like a Tempo Secret Mage won't be a thing anymore, but I'm not positive enough since like who knows what secrets they'll print. And then okay, yeah, we got dragon decks. There's always something to note, and they're losing a good amount of stuff. So they're losing the priests are losing Draconoid Operative, which is the best dragon card. It's one of the most powerful cards in the game. And then Dragonfire Potion again, like that one's even, obviously it's just good in general, but in the dragon decks it's just ridiculous because you don't even hurt your own minions, and it's doing 5 to everything. And then they're losing dragon, all the classes are losing Nether Spite, so all that extra dragon generation. Bookworm's not too big of a deal. It sees a little to no play right now. But then and the Deathwing Dragon Lord, like it's not usually included in decks, but it's picked a lot off of Nether Spite depending on the matchup, and it comes off of the Spiteful. When that comes off the Spiteful Summoner, that's a really big pain in the ass because it's a 12/12. It's a dragon, so Dragonfire doesn't hurt it. And then there's if it's getting picked off of Nether Spite, then that means they have dragons in their deck, and if they have dragons in their deck, especially if it's like a Spiteful Summoner deck, it means like when you kill it, you might be summoning like a 5/5 that buffs one of the other minions by 3. So this one's actually a bigger deal than it seems. And then we got Evolved Shaman. So the old gods, I kept skipping over that. These are huge deals. They're still seeing most of them are still seeing play. So every N'Zoth deck, obviously, N'Zoth is seen play in Q block right now. It's there's always at least one N'Zoth deck every expansion that's still seeing play. It's just such a strong card, and so that's gonna take a lot of the gas out of late control game decks. N'Zoth Paladin decks that always pop up. Cthulhu, that hasn't seen play in a long time. So that's the main one that it's not seeing play. Yogg, actually, I've been playing that recently in some decks, trying it out, and I've been playing it in Raza Priest, and it's actually really good right now. I think it's one of the most underrated cards currently. Like, it's throughout its time, it's gone from thought of being a joke to being like way too OP, and then they nerfed it, and then for a while after they nerfed it, it was really bad. But throughout this whole year, it's actually gotten really strong. People I don't think they're even realizing it, because most of the random spells that are cast randomly, especially this expansion, all like the spells that are randomly cast are like all the spell stones basically are positive for you. Yeah, throughout this year, the random cast spells are just good. They're either like cards that summon minions or gain you stuff, draw cards, gain armor, or clear the board. So like Yogg has actually steadily gotten better this year. I think it's really good right now. But that's going away. And Yusarj is always been a card that's seen played, even more so recently in the last like 2 expansions with like Big Priest and Big Druid. Are legitimate decks, and when this comes up again off of Spiteful Summoner, this card gets hit a lot, and then it draws another card. It's ridiculous. So you get, for 6 mana, you get the 4/4 body, the 10/10 Yusarj, and then another big minion that's in the deck, maybe even the other Yusarj, and then that Yusarj will get something more in the next turn. Yeah, this one, like, also kind of combines with Barnes a lot, and Barnes is rotating out. So like a lot of those cheap ass mana cheat decks, a lot of mana cheating cards from the last year are leaving, but like this most recent expansion added more mana cheating cards than ever. So it's not like mana cheating's going away. It's it's here for another year, but some of it is going away, and some of the stuff that like staggers and exponentially gets out of control, like particularly Sarge, is going away. So yeah, and then there's like some other. I'll just go through the other ones that. So Coon, Firelands Portal is pretty big. That was a key mage card. Fandral, that's been a key druid card for a long time. Really powerful. Goes in most druid decks. Feral Rage, used to see playing out anymore. Mire Keeper, so the druids losing one of their ramps. Getaway Kodo. So yeah, aggro Paladin will be a little less annoying because you're not going to have to worry about them getting that card back in their hand and not being able to kill it right away. The only way they'll get it back is from redemption, so you can kill it right away if you can plan around it better. Counterfeit Coin, that's big for rogues. I wouldn't land that. Like, that's really good, big with Gadgetin, which Gadgetin could be another card that might go to the Hall of Fame. That's a rumored one. And then Devolve is kind of big. I just bought Log Creeper, comes up sometimes. Dirty Rat is pretty big, actually, because Dirty Rat is the only way to play around a lot of these these OTK bursts, like with Velen. It pulls Raza. It can pull a Sorcerer's Apprentice from the mage to stop like the Exodia mages, and it could pull Spiteful Summoner with his big pull. Yeah, just like Dirty Rat's a really powerful card, and against Warlock you can fight back. You can even like when you're pulling cards that are really good that seem bad, you can at least get rid of them right away. And yeah, I'm sad about. I like Dirty Rat, and so they're gonna need some kind of replacement to fight against a lot of the cards that you can't fight against, because like your only answer to do that was Dirty Rat in a lot of cases. Curator, Barnes, like I just said, Arcane Giant's pretty big. Like that's seen a lot of play in a lot of decks. A big giant you get for free. Eater Secrets, another Dirty Rat style card. So right now, it seems like then the Quest Mage or like the questless Quest Mage could be pretty out of control, depending on if they don't rotate out Ice Block, which they probably will. Like that was what they pretty much already had said, that they're gonna rotate Ice Block, which I'm really happy about. That's like been my least favorite card since I started playing Hearthstone, and it's remained that way. I hate that card so much. Like the way it just makes not playing the game isn't fun when that card's around. So yeah, the Eater Secrets as a counter when like secret mage type decks see heavy play, and now that's not going to be a thing. So that makes me think even more that they'll definitely rotate out Ice Block. Also, they added a card that's essentially a replacement for Ice Block in Mage. It's not like a direct replacement, but it's like the one where you gain armor based on the spell cost that you play, and it's that's like a soft Ice Block. It's not as good, which is good. It's like such you can gain stuff, you can gain more turns, but it's not ridiculous. And then what was I left at? Oh, Ravaging Ghoul, a big one for Warrior. Forbidden Ritual used to be a big card for Warlock. Thing from Below is in basically every Shaman deck, so again, Shaman is losing most of what little they had. Zerael for Rogue, and Huckster, Shadow Strike, those are all like good cards. Those are the kind of cards that could or would see play if they didn't have so many options open right now. Call of the Wild for Hunter is big. That's like one of their big power play cards. Babbling Book for Mage, and then Swashbuckler also for Rogue. So and Swashbuckler has been going in like almost every deck. Sometimes one is cut or both, but usually there's like a double Swashbuckler in every rogue build right now, and so that one's kind of a big deal. And yeah, so that's all the stuff that's definitely gone. And like I said, we can only speculate on what cards are being rotated out for the Hall of Fame. Like I'm gonna do a follow-up video to this when my head's been cut off this whole time. Yeah, I mean, I'll basically I'll do like a card review for the next expansion, and that kind of is gonna be a follow-up. But I might do another video after that, and I'll wait till then to do follow-up because obviously, like, you can't understand the full impact of all these cards rotating out until you see the first expansion coming in. So there's that. Yeah, so let's see if there's anything on Jinyu. I forgot about Jinyu. Is kind of that's something that Jade or Shaman uses to hold on to. Yeah, Shaman's getting hit real. I mean, they're getting hit not as hard as like Priest and Druid again, but like since they're already the worst deck right now, they're in a bad spot. It seems like Warrior isn't really losing much, but they're not very good right now either. But like Taunt Warrior might be pretty good then. I don't know. Like I'm not sure how Taunt Warrior, with all this stuff rotated, stacks up against Q Block. I'm thinking that it's not great, but I'd like to see that matchup. Yeah, so we got that Murloc's not seeing too much. All the hand buff stuff is not a lot of it's going away. Anything I'm missing? Important. Yeah, just kind of scroll through. These are all the cards that are going to be leaving. I'm pretty sure I got all the important ones. Malkarak is an interesting one that's not like a big deal. Blood to Ichor was pretty good in a tempo card though. That's maybe something I left off. Renounced Darkness. Oh yeah, I have Faceless Shambler under here. The original Outrage card of 4 mana 7/7. So that's another nerf to devolve to evolve stuff. Halzeal. Extra Shadowcaster I left out. That's a pretty tricky card. And South Sea Squid Face is seeing a little bit of play with the King's Bane decks, but it's kind of slow, so it's not great anyway. Oh yeah, Violefin Inquisitor. So that's a pretty big one for Paladin that they're losing. That's a pretty key card in the Murloc deck. And then they're losing again, Rallying Blade. Alright, yeah, that's about it. Looking forward, that's my favorite time of the year is when the expansions rotate out because the game changes so drastically, so it's a lot of fun. Change is always good, even with like just like the nerfs. That's like that'll keep refresh the game a little bit for the next few months or whatever. I mean, for actually, well, at least for like a week or two. But since this nerf is gonna leave Warlock as a standalone strongest deck for a while, like this set of nerfs isn't that exciting because of that, because of what it's going to do to the meta. And yeah, that, so like that's surprising that they're going to cause nerfs that's going to clearly make one deck the strongest deck. But again, like I saw someone bring up the fact that that could be because like that deck's not seeing nerfs. It might be because Doomguard might be getting rotated out in the Hall of Fame when that happens, and along with N'Zoth, like cuts like the super greedy late part of that deck out, and then the super grindy late game, and then the Mistress of Mixtures cuts out a little bit of the survivability, but like I said, like it's just gonna get swapped out with anything else that can heal, so that's not a big deal. And then yeah, so like, but losing those two things with a Doomguard would be pretty big, because then beating decks like Raza Priest would be a lot harder without having the Doomguard, like without having like that charging burst out for games. You're gonna basically gonna be left with anti-aggro grindy builds, and which is fine. And maybe with those kind of builds, like super greedy decks that come up with like new legendaries and stuff might be able to outbreed a Q-block deck. But we'll see, because they might need to nerf Cube or Void Lord or the Skull Minari weapon, one of those three. Personally, I don't have a problem with the Skull Minari, because if you just run one weapon removal, like when I run one weapon removal in Raza Priest, like I almost never lose to Q-block just from that alone, because then they can't get their demons out, because they don't get it right away. So the first turn you get a free turn to answer it, and then you're drawing a lot of cards anyway, so you can draw into the weapon removal. And yeah, like Harrison Jones will probably see play again if that deck's out of control. But yeah, that's it for this review.